You should set that as your alarm. You'll get
No! Yeah, dude, I'll get right up.
punch the wall immediately.
I literally, like, you know how sometimes your alarm, or like I have like kind of not stock alarms, or like sometimes they kind of stick in your head for a while just because like it's the first thing you hear when you wake up. I can't imagine hearing that for the first 3 hours of my day.
And folks, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon are coming. They're 4th and 5th after 68 laps. We welcome you back to Bristol, Tennessee. NASCAR XL Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil. 78 of 500 laps complete, and congestion all around this racetrack, but the 8 car...
Can you hear it or no?
But the 8 car...
Nice. I'm gonna put my wheel away. Even though it's been fucking hooked up for like almost a week. That was an accident. I was putting my keycap back on. It fell off somehow.
Again, he's got to get it done tonight. This is very important for him. He can't be driving easy. He's got to hammer down and get all he can get because he's running out of time to make that chase.
And he's now in this mix here. You see Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He's been working underneath Paul Menard in this 15 car.
Paul Menard, he's getting lapped. Go figure.
I'm not sure that, you know, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to be able to get clear of these guys, even though his car's fast.
Green. I hate everything.
Green. I was getting ready to say, I don't think I've ever seen us go 81 laps without someone running in or running over someone or someone getting out and throwing something at someone. This is not typical Bristol, but great 2 and 3 wide racing, allowing you to pass in heavy traffic.
You know, it's a first for everything, Jerry, and this is the first time these cars have been on this racetrack at night. They've all done all their practice and qualifying and practice, but never have they been under night conditions, so they don't know what their cars are going to handle like yet.
Battle for 4th position. Carl Edwards trying to go back around the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Speaking of the 24, Dave. And Doc, it is a little confusing to the driver.
I might go out for dinner tonight. I don't know.
All this green flag racing. In fact, Jeff Gordon radioed in a few laps ago.
Okay, I'm back.
Now he knows he's racing.
Who's leading?
Green?
Green? Oh, here comes Montoya!
Because there were some really good cars already a lap down.
You know, these long runs got to be getting hard on the drivers, too, because, you know, the longer
Casey
you run,
Kane's
the
still
drivers
out
start
front.
to wear out.
What happened to Edwards?
Our countdown
There's
shows
Earnhardt in
that
third. What the fuck happened to Edwards?
G's out there. So
What? Oh, he's back in 5th.
Can be wearing some drivers out.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that as the race wears on. If it keeps having these long green runs, these guys are
Long
really,
green runs?
hanging out pretty good.
Green. Oh my god, shut up!
42 car faded after starting second, faded to about 10.
I hate you!
Now been able to climb back up and
I hate everything! I hate the color fucking green!
get the car woe down, not running to the back of the 99, but he's back all the way up to 6th spot.
That 99 car did a good job holding on to that thing just then. He about
God,
lost it.
those Cara Tomorrow Avengers look so good. When I went to the Avengers instead of the Chargers.
See a lot of drivers now losing grip and starting at the bottom and going clear to the top. Earlier we saw Tony Stewart get loose, and now the 99 of Carl Edwards. So I believe his tires are starting to get wore out.
I just picked this race by random. I don't know anything that happens in it. I don't even know who wins it.
See what happened to him just a little while ago.
Oh yeah, what happened to Edwards?
Turn 4. Juan Pablo gets right.
Oh, Montoya memed him!
Fishtailing back and forth going into turn 1, and he gathers it back
The
up.
fucking Colombian! Hit him with that cush.
The 1 car of Martin Truex is right now being shown in 7th position. He has a lot to be concerned about over these next 3 races. Mike?
And that's right, Doc, because they're pretty much on the bubble, 11th in the standings. But I spoke with Kevin Mannion this morning, and he said the last thing they need to do is be conservative. He said they need to go for the wins, and if they didn't, that's when they get themselves in trouble.
This is the year he won his first race, and then never won again until 2013. And then never won again until 2015, and then literally became a championship caliber driver for no reason at all.
It's the math.
No, it's the fact he finally got picked up by a good team. He was the 2017 champion. DEI at this time was just dying. The 1 car, the 8 car, the 15 car. This was Earnhardt's last year with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and then he went to Hendrick.
See these guys racing right
Teresa
here.
Earnhardt ran
This
that
1
team
car, his car is
around.
going really good on the bottom of the racetrack. But look here, coming in the picture, Kurt Busch in this 2 car. It's a guy that's been on fire.
Funny Boy Senior.
And he knows
Where's Kyle?
Well, right now
He's still in the 5. Yeah, this is.
He knows he's got a pretty good
Huh?
lead when it comes to
Kyle was
points. He's got
depressed.
163 points on Dale
He
Earnhardt
won this
Jr.
race in the spring of this year. It was the first Car of Tomorrow race ever because they still used the Gen 4s at the beginning of 07. And in Victory Lane, they asked him how he felt to win the first Car of Tomorrow race. You know what he said?
I'm sad.
No, he said, like, I still can't stand to drive them, they suck. And then they fined him. They were so mad, they were like, oh, they're like, this is such an honor. He's like, I don't care, they suck, I can't stand to drive them.
Seems very on cue.
He also had like a weird little like thing on his chin back then. Like he had one of those things.
Back at Bristol, Tennessee, laps continuing to click away. We amazingly are caution-free. Now, probably I'm going to regret I said that. We have gone 104 laps without a single caution flag. Very atypical for what is usually a Saturday night slugfest here on the high banks at Bristol. Now,
You know those fucking Nicolas Cage sequin pillows?
Yes!
Yeah, I own one now.
Nice!
And I also was a... Oh, you're finally awake pillow.
Yes! Uh-oh, what dumb Yaley do? What a moron.
Slides back and forth, no harm, no foul. Everybody's okay.
That's Kyle Busch's car next
took
year.
Everybody's breath on that one.
That was a close call right there.
You know, one thing I'm
he's not
seeing
there
right
yet.
now, guys, everybody in the racetrack looks really loose to me. And last night in our Busch race, the same thing happened. Hardly anybody got tight. And Brad, I'm just noticing all these loose cars.
Yeah,
Yaley's on the bubble. There's
Andy and I
no
spent a
way.
lot of time with Rick Campbell yesterday.
There's
He's
Kyle
doing
Busch,
NASCAR
22nd.
product development with Goodyear, and we talked about these tires and how hard the right side tires are. But what happened?
Wait,
is
why does
the
Jeff
Cup
Burton have
race,
no
the Cup
sponsorship?
test got rained
Oh!
out.
There was a story behind this race and why he has no sponsorship.
Guys use, and it's a
I
very
remember reading about this or seeing it in a video, why they took the ATT badging off it.
We want to mention the 31 car does not have sponsor logos on it because this past week the U.S. 11th Circuit Court of Appeals overturned the injunction that had been placed that had allowed the AT&T logo on the car. And that now being overturned means that logo has to disappear from the car. It was not grandfathered in. NASCAR has approved the paint schemes that they were bringing to the racetrack, and so Richard Childress Racing opted to bring this scheme with no logos on it to the racetrack here tonight.
Well, I guess that's why.
And Doc, let's talk about the 31 car on the racetrack now. We saw him moving up early in the race. Now we see him slipping back with a loose condition, no rear grip on the car. Something else new about this racetrack. This is the longest any of these drivers have ever run.
A ruling by a federal appeals court cleared the way for NASCAR to prevent AT&T Incorporated from featuring its logo on Jeff Burton's number 31. The 11th Circuit.
On this configuration of racetrack for the first time, and some of them find out they don't like the way their car handles over that long a period.
Oh, this was during the Singular Wireless AT&T merger, so that's why.
One car beginning to move. We saw him move late last week at Michigan to pull off a great second place finish, and Martin Truex once again now closing in on the 24 car for third position.
Oh, God. Oh, Newman for the lead!
With Casey Kane.
And Casey Kane and Newman, they've been going back and forth lap after lap. And Newman almost got Kane in the left rear quarter point on that last lap and almost got him sideways. You see, he took a shot down in the
Who was in the
turn one,
38?
and
Is it
got out of the
Gilliland? It's
throttle
got to be
and let him
Gilliland.
breathe a little bit.
They've both been real patient with each other around these lap cars. And when they get a little bit open track, it looks like they're trying to just see what each other has.
It's sort of deja vu a little bit. Last night in the NASCAR Busch Series race, the 9 and 12 got together in the final couple laps, and it ended up that Ryan Newman ended up cutting a tire. He was the leader, and Kane was trying to get past.
Looks like a rematch right here.
You know, going back to what Brad Daugherty said a little while ago about these tires, you know, I got to believe that after this race is over, Goodyear will come back and soften these tires up. They a little more conservative than they probably ought to be. And take a look at Kurt Busch working the outside of the old
Funny Man Sr.?
He's already moved by the 99.
Kurt Busch?
See that 11 car coming into the picture here too, Denny Hamill.
Craig Bush, the third
It
Bush
seems so
brother.
much slower from above.
Huh?
They seem so much slower from above.
Yeah. But this is a very slow track. It's a very short track.
Jerry, this is Bobby Labonte's style of race. He's being patient, and that's what you need right here is patience. Brad, you got to believe that these guys are thinking about patience.
Oh, absolutely.
You only get up to like
Go back
maybe
to your point,
120.
Rick Campbell's telling me these Goodyear tires, they're looking at this as almost
Wait,
a
Bobby
big
Labonte's in
test
the top 10?
tonight
What?
to figure out what they need to bring back.
Why?
So I'm sure when they come back next time, we'll see a little stickier tire on that right side, be a little bit better racing. But right now, this isn't too bad.
No, they got good racing going on
Yeah,
right
just need
now.
to
But
go into the
hey, you know what,
38.
Brad? We're not in the driver's seat, and I know they're sliding all over the place, and they're hoping for cautions because Andy, you're calculating right now how much farther you think these guys can go on fuel.
I think we're going to see them in here in the next 10 or 12 laps. They've gone green. They can go about
That'll for
130
6.
laps. And they
Montoya,
have quite a
Labonte,
few of these
Jesus Christ.
pace laps getting started. So I think they're due in here, and that's something we haven't seen in a while is green flag stops at Bristol.
The 11 car of Denny Hamill, although he qualified back in the 37th position, he started shotgun because they had an engine change. He started 43rd, so the 11 car has come from 43rd all the way up to 8th position. Mike.
And that team really wasn't all that concerned this morning when I spoke with Mike Ford, Doc. They really were looking at this racetrack, basically studying what they saw in the Busch race. And Mike Ford said that he saw a lot of Darlington in this new Bristol, and because of that applied some of the principles to the race car today. Really, Denny hasn't said much. A little bit loose between 1 and 2, but otherwise real happy.
Side-by-side action, and Bobby Labonte just gets nudging ahead of the 42 car. That is for the 6th position.
So you take a look at Denny Hamlin. He grew up in the short tracks. He's ran every bull ring in the Southeast. And if he's ever going to run good at a racetrack, these short tracks at Bristol's are really right up his alley.
Pit stops beginning under the green flag. They got to get down to 30 miles an hour. The 22 car of Dave Blaney. Very unique here pitting under the green at Bristol, Tennessee.
At Bristol, Tennessee, you're allowed to pit on your prospective pit road. You don't have to go all around. You don't have to enter in turn 2 and drive all the way around. If you're pitted on the front straightaway, you can enter off of turn 4. And now if you're pitting on the back straightaway, you can enter off of turn 2.
And if you are under caution, you have to come in off of turn 2 and come all the way around. The 70 car has slowed and cars are trying to get around him, and now the car.
What happened? Is that Stremme?
First time tonight.
Wait, no. No, it's Johnny Sauter.
Come on in. We'll change right sides, guys. Get it back through.
Johnny Sauter's car slowing up high on the racetrack has had some contact.
Come on.
We almost had one of the biggest crashes of the day. Casey Kane.
It hit pretty damn hard.
Oh, wow, he tore it up.
Take a look at Casey Kane.
What happened?
Big run coming off of turn 2. Wide open. Doesn't see the 70 slow.
Oh!
Tucks down to the bottom.
Jesus.
I'm telling you what, Andy, we almost had a big one right there.
That was real.
He almost got murdered.
With the Busch cars that was similar to that.
Fucking Arca brakes on the 9.
Over there, and Reed Sorensen piled right into him. We almost saw the same thing.
And that's one of the problems you have with the high banking. They've carried the banking way far off the corner so these guys can drive better.
This is a bad break for the 22 car, Dave Blaney. He pitted under green. Now this caution comes out. It's going to really be costly for him. And Ward Burton, we saw coming down pit road right as the caution came out.
Now remember the pit procedure under caution. They all have to come on the pit road off of turn 2 and come all the way around at 30 miles an hour.
It just effectively makes it one pit road. You see these guys coming in on the back stretch. A lot of these guys are going to be pitting on the front stretch. And NASCAR just makes this act like one big long pit road by doing it this way. Jamie?
And patience has paid off for Bobby Labonte, guys. He's been here 29 times, and it's showing. He's gained 16 positions.
I think the move is I get a Danica Patrick diecast.
They made a track bar adjustment around a wedge. He said he's just a little tight. Alan?
Dale Jr. described his car when the caution came out to his crew chief as neutral. That's good. It should be. He ran all the way up into the top 5. He was 5th at the time of the caution.
When the caution flag flew, the one team pumped their fist. They did not want to have to stop under green. They got their wish. 4 tires the call. A slight chassis adjustment for Martin Truex Jr., who has stormed all the way from the 25th starting position all the way into the top 3. Dave?
Mike, leader Casey Kane says, my car's loose, but I like it. 4 tires, no changes on the 9 car. Completing the left side now, trying to win the race off the pit road. He will do it easily.
First pit stops of the day under the caution, the first caution of the afternoon, and off of pit road at 30 miles per hour. Casey Kane says, I'm loose, but I like it.
He's loose and he's like it. He's been leading that race, and Casey's the type of fellow that always likes to run that top lane, and he was doing that. And a little while ago, Andy, that almost bit him because I thought he was going to knock the back off that 70 car. But talk about perfect timing right now for the caution flag. These guys are just about to have to come down under green to do this.
Yeah. I'm late. Hey.
Caution number 1 coming out on lap 125. Johnny Sauter's car having his troubles. When we come back, Casey Kane will lead him down to the green once again.
But where I just said Johnny Sauter's name, I just saw a Johnny Sauter diecast in my
Welcome
fucking
back to Bristol
recommended.
Motor Speedway. What a weekend for Casey Kane in the 9 car. Won the Busch race last night with an amazing pass.
Who is speaking? It sounds like a child.
Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race on behalf of Casey Kane. Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School, and this was unbelievable. Johnny Sauter had slowed. Casey Kane comes around and just barely gets around the Brad.
That is unbelievable. You tell me these guys are the greatest race car drivers in the world, I'll eat your hat. That was unbelievable. Great reaction.
Doc, incredible that we've only had one.
Yo, there's a NASCAR for Dummies book that comes with a Jason Leffler jacket, bruh.
Then when I see him eat, he can eat anything. I gotta believe that. So we're getting set for the restart at Bristol, Tennessee, as they are going to bring the pace car back on the racetrack and now pull them off. They're trying to get everyone lined up. Just joined our coverage. 1 caution flag coming out of lap 125. The 1 car, Martin Truex Jr., has had to come back on the pit road a moment ago. Mike?
And that's because they failed to tighten all the lug nuts on the left rear, Doc, and they'll pay their penalty. Kevin Mannion, none too happy either, came over the radio and basically reprimanded his team, then climbed down off the pit box and got in the face of one of his tire changers, but really was trying to pick them up on the radio afterwards, especially Martin, telling him that we're only about 133 laps into this race, a lot of racing to go, and reminding him that he has a very good race car.
And now we'll currently slide Martin Truex back into 12th spot in the points and move the 2 car in front of him in 11th position. Our Chevy pace car camera looking at the back of that Chevy Impala that Brett Bodine is driving. See him coming off the banking. And the cars go by. Here's Casey Kane and the 43 car of Bobby Labonte in chase in 2nd place. Bobby Labonte wants to lead here and will dive into turn 3 and try to take it away.
Bobby Labonte gets a good run on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got fresh tires now in the shortest way.
Bobby Labonte to the lead? No way. Not in the fucking Richard Petty Motorsports car. It's not even that. It's still Petty Enterprises.
Just seems like that top group is the preferred line. And if somebody's got a real good handling car like we've seen, this 43 and the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, are on the bottom. They've made some passes down there, but the preferred group seems to be up top.
We saw last night in the Busch race, these guys would go really fast for about 15 to 20 laps on these new tires, and then they would kind of level out, and it was hard for people to pass. So if they're going to strike, and if they're going to get some positions, they got to do it early.
Battle for 2nd place. Jeff Gordon showing a lot of muscle there after that pit stop. Pulls to the inside. He really drives it into turn 3.
He's had the best handling car on the bottom of the racetrack I've seen all night. He makes that pass on Bobby Labonte look easy.
Jamie, you got more in the 43?
Guys, they had a great stop for Bobby Labonte. 4 tires. He was just a bit tight, but what's great about this team right now is they have new chemistry. There's a new crew chief, Doug Randolph. This is just their 2nd race together, just 4 days ago or 5 days ago now in Michigan. They had a top 10 finish. I asked Doug about being here tonight. He said, this is my first ever car tomorrow race that I'm crew chiefing, and guys, obviously, so far, so good.
What, did they run the fucking... The Jag 4 at Michigan?
Jamie now been trying to move in on Bobby Labonte. Others, that's the 12th car he's trying to get by Ryan Newman. That is 4th position. That's for 4th spot.
You see this upper lane really is paying off for Ryan Newman.
No, tongues into acid.
Junior not quite able to get clear.
Whoa.
And Kurt Busch working the bottom lane also. He's got a good handling car. And Juan Montoya, you know, he's used to bigger racetracks, faster cars, but he's took a liking to this Bristol Motor Speedway.
Taken a liking, not took, Rusty. Come on.
He doesn't get very good education down south, you know what I'm saying?
He's from Missouri. He's not that far south.
That's far south than I am.
Yeah, that's south enough. Yeah, it's like all those dumbass retards in Oregon. Imagine being in the deep south.
Literally.
You live in fucking Rhode Island? God, you must be a fucking redneck.
Dude, you should get the fuck out of that tiny little square.
He wanted to stay out of trouble, get to the end of the race, and then see what they had to go race with.
Alan, really good point there, because a lot of drivers you talk to tell you, hey, what's the key to winning here at Bristol? You can't win the race unless you got really good fenders and you're creating good downforce on these cars. If you get rooting and gouging and banging and tearing the front of the car up, you're not going to run fast and you can't win.
We've already heard Juan Pablo Montoya tell his spotter about 100 laps ago when he let the 12-car Ryan Newman go by. Says too early to race him here. A lot of maturity for a driver here, and he wouldn't have done that early in the
Real
year.
joke is Washington's higher up than Maine, so goddamn redneck.
In Maine.
They're just trying to keep their cars clean.
Damn lobster fuckers.
50 laps in. These guys just still racing side by side and giving each other plenty of room.
84, A.J. Allmendinger, the former open wheel ace, and a little contact.
A.J. Allmendinger!
Oh, that's
now he's a championship contender.
I don't know what that was all about, but he got down in the bottom part of the racetrack and almost got up into Kurt Busch there, it looks like, but everything's okay with him right now.
Looks like a typical Bristol tempers to me.
It sure does. Hey, you know one thing I should talk about, guys, the racetrack, it looks white, it is concrete, but below that, you would think that's asphalt, that black color. They've actually took that concrete and dyed it black. That's black concrete. It's not asphalt. And the drivers used to get down on that asphalt and slide all over the place. So you got to hand it to Burton Smith and Jeff Burton and all the guys here at Bristol to do that, because there's more grip that way. And, hey, it looks the same.
Casey Kane has led twice for 121 laps. So let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Now, who has the best chance to win his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race of the season? Is it 1, Greg Biffle, 2, Clint Moyer, 3, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 4, Casey Kane? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later in the race here tonight. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil. Our aerial coverage high atop this concrete coliseum brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Casey Kane has now led twice for 133 laps. He had led just 66 laps in the first 23 races this year. He has led twice that many here tonight.
Well, one guy out there, Denny Hamill in the 11 car, he's starting to have problems now. He's slowing. It looks like his engine's down in 7 cylinders. Says a battery, but Andy, I thought I just saw some smoke come out of that car.
I think they're just being optimistic. They're looking for an electrical problem. It looks like he may have a problem with the engine, because it's definitely not running on the straightaway. And we did see some smoke right there.
Remember, they changed the engine in this car before the race, so he had to go all the way to 43rd spot and came all the way to 5th. Mike?
And some alarming radio traffic, Doc. Just a moment ago, Denny Hamill came over the radio and said, I think we're blowing up. Mike Ford told
no!
Boxes. He did, and it did not cure the problem. So obviously, the 11 team up on the wall, ready for that car to come down pit road sometime soon.
Well, there's nothing good about having an engine problem, but the only thing good, he is locked in the chase for the championship right now. So even if he goes out, he's in. And there's a lot of guys out there can't say that.
You'll hear us say this time and time again tonight. The leader is in traffic once again. Casey Kane 3 wide above the 22. Now thinks better of it and falls back.
Casey Kane's just putting on a fucking clinic. Jeez.
Now Jeff Gordon has had his hands full early on tonight, but his car running real well. Now let's listen in to what he and his crew chief had to say here a moment ago.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. It's going to be a hard one to fix.
Why is he yelling?
Because we are good, but we need to be better. I'm just curious to see what it does here, because I was dead sideways at the start of this race.
It's crazy to me that Jeff Gordon, when he won his 4th championship in 2001, his last championship, he had like 49 or 48 wins. When he retired in 2015, he had 93 wins, but he never won another championship.
Huh.
Under the old points format, he would have won 7 of them. And I really think he probably should have won about 8 or 9. He got screwed by the championship. It's like There were some times where, like, the playoff system helped him, like 2014 and 2015. Like 2015 when he won, when he got his last win at Martinsville and went to the championship 4.
That's what he's talking about there. He said, you know,
And then had a bad race at Homestead.
really started out loose.
And then there were other times when it didn't help him.
Tell him what it's doing so he can make those changes and then anticipate maybe what the track's going to do later.
Let's watch the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. moment ago. Looked like he
But yeah, he's third on the all-time wins list, and he got 50 of his wins without winning another championship.
The 12 car for Ryan Newman.
You know, he's really driving smart. I got to hand it to Ryan Newman today. He's got a smart race going on. He's not really challenging too hard, and tore his car up last night. He got deep in the race, only a couple laps to go, and got a little aggressive and wasn't able to finish his race. And I got to believe that's on his mind now.
Well, both of these guys, the 12 car and the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. are both outside looking in on this chase. They know they have to finish this race. They can't roll the dice like you see Denny Hamill and Jeff Gordon and these guys that are locked into the chase. They have to finish races. They've got to have to have a solid finish to stay in contention.
Remember, coming into tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 13th in points, and Ryan Newman was 14th, just 8 points behind, and these guys can ill afford any kind of contact with anyone.
Well, the guy I'm looking at right now is a 1-car Martin Truex. He's went from dead last year after that loose lug nut, that penalty where he had to start in the back. He's worked himself all the way up to 20th. And hey, he's one of the guys right now who's locked into the chase for the, not locked in, but he's locked in with the 12th position. And he's only
God, Michael Waltrip racing with their chrome rims on their paints.
You know, where I was going with that story a little while ago is that his crew chief really calmed him down. He was all upset about those loose lug nuts, got him calmed down. Now he's driving that thing up to the front, and now he's just moved into the 19th position.
The pressure's really on this one team because they are the ones right now in the 12th spot. Everybody's shooting for that 12th spot or higher to try to get into this chase. So pressure's definitely on the one team.
And you know, crew chiefs not only have to make the calls in terms of chassis, you got to be part-time psychiatrists, these guys. You got to get inside that helmet and make sure they understand what the big picture is about.
There's more of that than you think, Doc.
And you're going to have to get me a calculator to figure out these point standings because they're changing with every pass out there.
177 laps, and Casey Kane, who won the NASCAR Busch race last night, having his way here early on in the Cup event. Let's take a look at our Crown Royal crowning moment. Last night, NASCAR Busch Series action, late laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. 8 laps to go. The 12 car of Newman was the leader. Here comes the 9 of Casey Kane. There's contact. They squeeze Newman between Kane and Jason Leffler. Final lap coming out of turn 4. Kane takes the win, and there's Toyota tag behind him. Leffler gets tagged.
Well, rest in peace, Jason
second, and David Rudeman a great run in 3rd spot.
Jimmy McMurray and his 26 car is really fighting to stay on the lead lap here with Casey Kane working the bottom side of the racetrack, trying to get by and can't quite get him cleared.
Well, McMurray, he's at the tail end of the lead lap right now. If the 9 gets past him,
he did.
You know, he's going to be the first guy to get the lucky dog.
Remember these guys,
oh my
Kevin
no.
Harvick and Juan Pablo Montoya from Watkins Glen. Dare say they're not the best of friends as of yet. And watch them side by side here at Bristol. Oh, a little squeeze there.
Oh, and Kevin stays in the throttle, gets him in the left rear quarter panel and says,
all right, I am
take
back.
that. See you later, dude.
I just got back, and all I heard was Rusty going, "See you later, dude." I was like, "Wow, I just got back, Rusty. Damn."
2 races ago, it was coming down to the final here, going into turn 1, and there was contact.
Oh yeah, and Kevin Harvick, he was so mad at Juan Pablo Montoya, but Montoya really couldn't do nothing about it. He gets hit hard right there. He got loose getting into one, took Kevin with him, and boy, there was no love lost between these 2 guys right here. Pushing and shoving, slapping each other, and name calling, and come get me, dude. I'm not backing down.
They're holding hands.
And again, side by side out on the racetrack. Harvick in the 29 car on the bottom. Montoya the 42 up high as they battle for the 10th position. And Harvick had it. Montoya takes it back.
Like 2 guys, neither one of them want to give any ground.
Well, Harvick's an idiot, so.
Really hard. Alan?
Well, I'll hate to disagree with
Who's leading? Still Casey Kane? Nice.
She's not really racing Harvick that hard. His spotter, Tab Boyd, had told him the 07 knocked the 29 into you, and Montoya said, that's okay, because I had just waved him through when that happened anyway. So, attention down, Montoya says,
Interestingly, Alan, it's on the third Harvick's teammate, the 07, and Kevin's comments right after he got into the 42 was, hey, tell Clint, man, he's got one coming. That wasn't good.
Our teammates.
Well, I hear all that, but I still don't think Kevin Harvick likes Juan Pablo Montoya. I don't think Montoya likes him either, so...
16 car of Greg Biffle now becoming a factor. Biffle moving up on the
Stick
back
with the
of
Biff,
20
baby.
Harvick, that is for the 11th spot.
And Biffle's got that top side working good, too. Kevin's car is starting to fall off a little bit, not running like it did early in the race. And Biffle's the other way around. He's found some rhythm, and he's got a lot of bite going on there. His car's handling good.
It's like Casey Kane finally got clear of the 26 car, Jamie McMurray. Now these other guys are stuck behind Jamie trying to fight by to get up there and maybe race the 9 car.
Now McMurray, he's hoping for a caution flag right now because if it falls now, he'll get the lucky dog and get back.
Wow, they've lapped a lot of people.
But that's why these guys don't
Everyone
just
up to
lay
24.
over when they do get lapped. They want to stay up there as far as they can because as long as they're the first car 1 lap down, if the caution comes out, they'll get that what we call the free pass and get back on the lead lap.
Side by side a moment ago for 3rd position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now gets the highest spot he's had all night long in 3rd spot, starting back in 17th.
Holy shit, I'm gonna get a hoodie. I'm fucking cold.
Right now, Jamie, if it comes out right now, he is just hoping this caution flag, like I said earlier, because the next guy that Casey Kane's going to run down is Robbie Gordon, and Robbie Gordon is driving his brains out too. And I don't think McMurray wants to mess with Gordon because those two are wrestled pretty hard over this lucky dog spot.
Nobody's really been laying over for these leaders. They've been racing them very hard all night long. You can see how this, even though we've got this 2 and 3 lanes of racing, it's still hard.
I'm wondering if Casey Kane does win this race.
3 wide going into turn 3, guys. And
I think he did win a race in 2007 or a couple.
It's just fantastic. It's holding them. They're not getting out of control, and it's working.
Glenn Boyer in the 07, that's for position. He is 8th. The 17 car of Kenseth is 9th.
And the 6 car.
A few drivers got their first wins this year, or in 2007. Clint Boyer got his at New Hampshire. Montoya got his at Sonoma. Trying to think who else. Vickers got his in 06.
Yeah, the way this race is running right now, it really shows how hard this tire is. These guys are running the same laps from the beginning of the run to almost end of the runs. Only a couple tenths of a second different. That's about it. And the goodie that you and I were talking about on the tire, where it's got some grip early for those first 15 laps.
Truex got his
right now
at Dover.
Consistent lap times, and when you're running the same speed, you just can't pass anybody.
It seems like those new tires are worth something for just a few laps, maybe 10 or 15 laps, and after that they all kind of even out.
How are you doing,
Jamie, what's
Ryan?
going down on there with that?
Fighting.
Who are you fighting?
Clint Boyer, you're talking about.
Katkiske.
He started 15th. I talked to Gil Martin, his crew chief, earlier today. They had everything they could take out from underneath the hood out of the car. And I said, what happened? He said, last night we discovered we had an oil leak. He said, now normally we wouldn't be too stressed. We kind of let it slide. But because of the points chase right now, and they want to lock themselves in that top 12, he said, if it's dirty, we will fix it. We're so concerned right now about making positions up on the track and gaining points right now. That's all they can think about. So there's a lot on the line. But right now, obviously those changes and that oil leak fixing it today paid off.
Brad, you can add as well.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with Clint yesterday, and you know, as time goes on, each week that goes by,
Matt Mayfield running 41st.
You can just see it mounting on him. He feels like
Wait, how did Andretti finish ahead of Johnny Sauter?
He feels like he should have gotten a win. So I saw it yesterday when we were talking in his face that it's just draining out of him. The pressure is on him.
Did they get him back out on track?
That win because he's been in the top 5 in the percentage of laps led this season, and he doesn't have much to show for it.
Glenn Boyer 3 times here at Bristol, Tennessee. His best finish came at 8th back in the spring of this year. He was 38th in this race a year ago, and we got a car sideways.
Uh-oh, Denny, it's on fire!
Slide down. It's on fire.
It finally blew up.
Looks like that engine finally let go in the 11 car.
Don't let the invisible fire hurt my friend.
You know, if he lost a cylinder,
Like the fire has gone out.
if he lost a cylinder, Andy, and dropped the valve through the piston, that would cause the
Man,
fire.
Denny, being a Denny Hamlin fan used to be so easy. He was just this quiet guy, this quiet young guy that like just kind of rode around and minded his own business and always won races. He's gotten like bitchier the older he's gotten, and usually it's the other way around. Usually they mellow out when they get older. Denny's like gotten bitchier. It's hilarious, actually.
The engine just prior to the race and had to go to the rear of the pack in 40-30, driven it all the way to 5th, and then began to slow down.
Oh yeah, look at all that smoke. It's gone.
Everybody behind him did a good job because that thing was dumping smoke and oil, and whether the track was slick or not, they couldn't see behind him at all.
He did a burnout, basically.
Made it through pretty clean.
I guess this answers the question whether it was electrical or not.
No, it wasn't electrical.
I don't believe it was. That was definitely inside the engine.
When they let go at Bristol,
I'm still a Hamlin fan. I don't care. I don't care how bitchy he gets. I'll always be a Hamlin fan.
Probably they broke a valve spring, and maybe after that, then the other
I don't care how many people shit on Denny Hamill.
Tim can tell us a whole lot more about that in our Dish Tech Center. Tim?
Thanks, Andy. What we're anticipating right here, folks, is the valve spring possibly broke in this area. Maybe over-revved it or whatever. But what we're going to show you right here is what's going to happen next. When the valve comes down after the spring broke, it's going to get caught. It's not going to set back down on the seat properly. Therefore, it's going to pop the head off the valve eventually. And when it does that, total devastation for the engine. It's going to be a hole in the piston, and that's where you've seen all the smoke and all the fire come out from under the hood.
Yeah, that just goes, when that head of that valve goes in there, it just wreaks havoc inside that engine, destroys it. Pit road is open. The leaders are coming down pit road on the backstretch.
30 miles an hour, under caution for the second time. They pitted on lap 127 in the first caution flag of the night. Jamie.
Bobby Labonte been silent on the radio since the last stop. He said he's tight in the middle off. They're going to go up 2 rounds on that track bar, try to free him up a bit, make an air pressure adjustment, and he's out. Alan?
Junior continuing to describe his car as neutral. That's good in handling terms, a 4-tire change, and nothing else for the 8 car.
I will be right back, but I'm going to leave this going.
Good luck.
I
think the pizza here.
Yeah, we see these guys screwing those jack screws around there, trying to change the handling characteristics of this 24. So Jeff's calling for something he wants in the car.
Jeff Gordon down and away. We heard 2 rounds on the track bar up on the 43 car. What are they trying to do for Bobby Labonte? Making a lot of adjustments on these guys. Bobby Labonte, one of the guys like Jeff Gordon, who was also trying to get his car dialed in.
They raise that track bar up. What they're trying to do is free the car up. It may have a little more push than he wants. So they just raise that track bar up, makes the car a little freer, makes the front wheels turn a little better.
Second caution flag today coming out on lap 210 when an engine erupts for Denny Hamill. Back with the green in a moment. Set for the restart at Bristol, Tennessee. Let's listen into the drivers and spotters as we go full throttle.
Green flag, green flag, green flag. There's nothing behind you. Stay on there now. Stay on there. The 10 now. Clear low. Clear. All yours, man. 1 back. 2 back.
2 wide racing at Bristol, Tennessee. Casey Kane has led now twice for 193 of 221 laps. The caution flag just a moment ago. An engine or something erupting in the 11 car. Denny Hamill, he's standing by with Mike.
Doc, there were warning signs before the spin and subsequent crash. Denny Hamlin was on the radio about 20 laps earlier.
Am I talking to my baby Denny Hamlin?
What was it like for you driving what you thought was pretty much a ticking time bomb there? You knew it was going to blow up.
Well, yeah, I mean, we knew it was coming, but wow, I couldn't be prouder for this whole FedEx Freight team. To come from 43rd to 7th on that first run was unbelievable. Our car was magnificent. It was just awesome, and I couldn't be proud of this whole race team. And
back when Denny Hamill was a glowing young star.
And walk away with a smile on my face because these guys are going to have to deal with this team for the rest of the season.
And guys, there's plenty of reason for Denny Hamlin to walk away with that smile on his face. Believe it or not, this is only his 2nd career DNF.
Well, it's also only his second year in the series.
Andy, if this team is now already locked into the chase where they're doing some R&D trouble.
Whoa!
Also racetrack.
The lap cars killed each other.
From the back.
So if this team is now already locked into the chase where they're doing some R&D trouble.
They'll show a longer replay. Well, the lap cars killed each other. They were racing for fucking 40th.
That is Eric Almirola. And of course the 84 also there, AJ Allmendinger.
Rest in peace, Allmendinger.
That's tough.
Looks like the wing is still attached to the back of both their cars.
I want to see how this happened. What happened? Did Jimmy just kill him because he was? Did Jimmy just kill him because he was trying to pass him? Yeah, he just got bored and killed 2 lap cars. Nice. It almost looks like AJ blew up. Why is there so much smoke?
I think that's just a little bit of frustration on Jimmy Johnson's part here. These guys were a lap down, and he's trying to get by them.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson not having the kind of night he's accustomed to. He's back in 19th position.
Yeah, he wins a championship, thinks he's a fucking big boy. Of course, he would go on to win 7, but as of this race, he's the defending champion. He won 5 in a row.
NASCAR Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil. And what a weekend it's been for Casey Kane so far. He's led way more laps tonight than he had.
Who are you?
He started on the pole tonight. Turns out 4 of his 7 career wins have come from the pole. Let's get the full story in our McDonald's race rundown. And Casey Kane.
McDonald's race rundown, because we're America.
Leads a lap for the first time ever at Bristol, and he's really run the heck out of that car tonight.
He really has, Susie. There's been a resurgence for Casey Kane this second half of the season. He has come on strong, really out front, cranking on that race car, ran off and left everyone early.
And demonstrating his skill as a driver. The first caution came out when Johnny Sauter slowed up top, and Casey Kane, great job getting around him.
That was incredible. Most of the time the guys are letting out, just trying to get blowed up. But look at that. He missed him by less than a foot. Great awareness by Casey Kane.
Second caution of the night on lap 211. Denny Hamill felt the impending doom, and then the engine gave out.
He has been the Energizer Bunny this season as far as consistency is concerned. Had a little bad luck tonight, but Denny Hamill and that FedEx team, they will bounce back.
Only the second DNF of his career, but he's locked into the chase. Joins Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth locked in. Doc?
48 car came on the pit road. Jimmy Johnson checking out.
Ain't this a fucking, like, October race? How is the chase not started? It's usually a fall race. Maybe back then it was like a summer race.
Major adjustments. They went up 3 rounds on the track bar, took 4 tires and fuel, still trying to free up Jimmy.
Well, the spring race used to be in March instead of May, so...
Jimmy Johnson.
Probably.
As he has had 3 consecutive top 5 finishes.
Well, that was a smart move, him pitting.
He missed an opportunity to pit on the first time by there. Some of those guys came in. I was kind of speculating that was an opportunity those guys should have jumped on to get tires, and then the next lap they came in. So
wait.
Coming down for the restart.
Is that,
we are 18 laps away.
That's not Ward Burton up there, is it? Oh, God. Oh, no, it's lap cars on the inside? What?
Side by side, the battle for second and lap traffic.
I thought they had stopped doing that at that
Jeff
point.
Gordon with the 8 car of Earnhardt Jr. chomping at the bit right behind him.
You guys, they can run all over this racetrack. They're using the top, the middle, and the bottom, and by doing that, there's no marbles on the racetrack. The rubber buildup that you want to stay out of. They're basically running everywhere on the track and not hitting any of that stuff. It's just a great feeling on a restart where you know you can put the car wherever you want to. Take a look at Dale Jr. going to the front right now, moving up the racetrack in front of Carl Edwards, trying to get some momentum up off the car doing that.
Almost killed him.
Edwards has already led for 28 laps, and he's one of the 2 leaders we've had, Casey Kane and Carl Edwards, and Edwards all over the back of Earnhardt Jr.
These guys are racing hard there. It looked like they had just a slight bit of contact here in the last lap. No trouble, though.
Well, we talked about if
that was a good couple slices of pizza.
Now, they've cooled down enough that there's more grip this way, and so you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to overhaul Jeff Gordon right now in that bottom lane by doing that.
Earnhardt Jr. says, if you're going to mess with me, Carl, I'm going to mess with Jeff Gordon and try to take the spot away. And he moves to the bottom side. Looks like he will take
Cousin Carl
position away. Dave.
And
Jeff Gordon not happy with his race car even after those changes on that last stop. Says it takes off great, then it gets bad loose when I want to get back to the gas. And
Thinking about how Trevor Bayne could come back to NASCAR next year and still only be 32.
That's how he's running right now. Allen.
And the other side of that story, Jeff Gordon spotter told Dale Jr. spotter Steve Neal that, hey, the 24 car says he wants to lead, but he knows you're faster, so if you get clear of the lap, he'll let you go. And Dale Jr. came on his radio and he kind of chuckled and he said, well, I want to lead too.
Well, Dale Jr. needs a lead. He needs to get everything he can. Jeff Gordon's already locked in the chase for the championship. And the 8 car's got nothing to lose. If I was him, I wouldn't be putting up with that right now.
The only problem is Kasey Kahne's driven away from these guys by about 1.3 seconds while they were back there racing each other.
I think Casey's probably got the car to beat.
Here's the 9 car of Kasey Kahne. Spoke with Ray Evernham, who's now the co-owner of Gillette Evernham Motorsports yesterday. He was coming into the he said the problem we had this year, we either qualify real well and run terribly, or we qualify horribly and run pretty well. We can't ever get it together. Now, we got a car on the pole here. Can we finally dial it in and follow up a good qualifying run?
It looks like they've done that. They've been able to keep this car up front all night long. They won the Busch race last night. One thing that tells me is probably that some of the problems they're having are aerodynamic problems instead of mechanical issues, because this racetrack is more about the mechanical part of the car, the springs, the shocks, and all that stuff. It's not so much dependent on the aerodynamics.
And when you walk down in the garage area and you look at all the different settings on these cars,
the
bump
down,
stops, they run
so
the
they must
shock
have gotten back
absorber,
out on
the
the
lengths
track.
of the A-frames, the springs. There's so many things that are adjusting on this car tomorrow that, you know, I really, if there's more
Funny Man
options
Senior
right
in
now
5th.
than they're running on the other car. They've kind of honed into that stuff.
That's the only thing they can work on with this car, because they can't touch the body of this car. It's all locked down by NASCAR and all these array of templates that they have. So the only place they can work on them is the chassis, the A-frames and the shocks and the springs and all that stuff. So that's what they work on.
Hey, you were talking about at Watkins Glen. Some of these guys were going to take the Watkins Glen car and run it at Talladega.
What?
That to me just blew me away, that they can take a car from Watkins Glen or even Bristol and take it to Talladega.
No way.
That's just how much NASCAR's locked these bodies down. They won't let these guys work on them at all. So a car that runs good here at Bristol runs just as good at Talladega.
And that's what NASCAR's goal was, to try to save money. Instead of running 15 or 16 cars, these guys can maybe run this series in 8 cars now with these new rules.
Time now to reveal the results of our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Now, the question was, who has the best chance to win his first Nextel Cup Series race of the season? Who was it? Who are you going to vote for?
Come on,
I just don't know how you're going to bet against Kasey Kahne.
I bet against Kasey. Oh, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets the vote over Kasey.
Not by
Kahne,
much,
despite the
3%.
fact that Earnhardt Jr. hasn't led a lap, and Kahne has not.
Well, he's NASCAR's most popular driver.
Who is?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Because he's Dale Earnhardt's son.
Yeah. Bill Elliott was most popular driver for like 24 years in a row. And then Dale Earnhardt won it posthumously in 2001. And then Bill Elliott won it again in 2002 and just said, you know what, I'm done. I'm taking my name off the ballot. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. won it until he retired in 2017. And now it's Chase Elliott. But I think he might lose it to Larson this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Larson won most popular driver. You can go vote if you want. Go vote for Funny Man.
Funny Man Senior?
I always vote for Funny Man Senior. Hold on, let's vote. NASCAR most popular driver 2021. Yeah, that's best driver. Most popular driver. Here we go. Voting's closed! Here it is. Where is it? Voting's closed, but I never voted. Are the results out yet? That's best driver. Yeah, let's look at the most popular driver award. Here we go. As you can see, that's a lot of Bill Elliott. And a lot of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And then a lot of Chase Elliott. Then Richard Petty got it quite a few times. Richard Petty won it 9 times. Bobby Allison 6. Bill Elliott 16. Dale Jr. 14. That's wrong. No, that's right. 15. Okay, anyway. Speaking of, hello Dale Earnhardt Jr. Hello Casey Kane. Nice bowl cut.
Casey Kane on the high banks at Bristol.
Okay, come back from commercial.
You understand
There.
the history of Bristol, again,
Don't care.
Bristol, and it can
They're
get
kissing. We get it.
260
Here we go. What's
thus
happening?
far. Jeff Gordon losing a spot back to 5th position.
Well, not yet. Ryan Newman's working on him here. Here he gets clear.
Actually back to 6th position as Newman takes the 5th spot.
We're about just over halfway past this race, and Jeff's still got a lot of time to work in the car. The problem is we've been going so caution-free forever now, and generally
I would say, based on career statistics that I know, year statistics, and just what I know about the drivers and the teams at the time, I would say Jeff Gordon probably wins this race. Just because he seems like he has a fast car, and I feel like I just don't feel like Casey Kane wins. Casey Kane retired with 18 wins, but I just don't feel like he won this race. Maybe Newman won it, but Newman was kind of out the door at Penske by this point.
Pat Trice has got a lot of good pub for helping that 2 car. Any of that translating over to you? He said Pat has helped this Penske program a lot. In both cases, we do share a lot of information, and the 2 car success.
There's only so many guys that won from 2000 to 2009, so.
And both of these cars are in the top 5 right now, so that information is definitely making its way across the teammates.
Wendy, you know team morale is everything in the world. In the last week, I
God, it could even be Boyer. I forget though.
6 months, and the attitude in that facility was
Boyer retired
high,
with 8
Pat
wins.
Trice and me in there. Every room I went in, they kept saying how
I
Pat
think
has
he only
brought
won
the
once in the
attitude,
07
the
though.
comfort back, and all the employees. They love working there now with Pat around.
It's all about chemistry. Here we got Clint Boyer chasing down Jeff Gordon in this 24 car.
That is for the 6th position. Clint Boyer trying to follow up on his career best finish of 8th back in the spring here. And don't look now, but the 43 car of Bobby Labonte is coming in a hurry. The King Richard Petty's car. So successful in Bristol over the years with the King aboard. Now is Bobby Labonte, and he's trying to reel these guys in that are running in 6th and 7th.
Bobby's car's been strong all night long. He lost a couple of spots on pit road on that last pit stop under caution, and these guys are trying to work their way back up, but his car's strong.
Hey, it's dumbass Yeley.
The 18 car, J.J. Yeley, he's really on the move. He's went from 40th all the way up to 11th position right now after an early incident today. And he's got a good handling car, and little damage on a right rear quarter panel, but nothing that's really going to affect that car. Good run for him so far.
J.J. Yeley trying to drive and see what's going to happen for 2008. Remember, he's being relieved of this ride because Kyle Busch is going over to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Funny man!
He is a free agent right now in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
Is it just me, or does it seem like these guys drive a little bit harder when they're looking for a job, Rusty?
Well, generally, you know, if they're looking for a job, Andy, they drive a little harder, or else they just start wrecking because they're driving too hard. Dave, what's going on down there, buddy?
Well, Rusty, talking with crew chief Steve Addington earlier today, I said, I know JJ's leaving. What about you and the team? He said, oh, we are the team for the future with Kyle Busch. I will try to keep as many guys together and build that team and keep it strong for Kyle when he comes over. But right now, we're just trying to...
He didn't stay very long because Adam Stevens was his longtime crew chief.
And we'll be the 18 next year.
J.J. Yeley just takes the top 10 spot away from the 29 car, Kevin Harvick.
Leaders in heavy traffic, left side of your screen, Casey Kane getting beneath Jamie McMurray. McMurray was one of the early cars to watch, running 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the first 50 laps. He is faded now, being shown a lap down.
Yeah, his car is
Casey
terrible.
Kane
He has
has
no drive
dominated
off.
the laps led here tonight. He has led twice for 247 laps.
Guys, right now, Casey Kane is on the verge of a dominant performance, and the last time we've seen this was Kurt Busch in Michigan, and then before that, at Pocono by Kurt Busch again. And Casey Kane's got this Dodge going tonight.
Is he just gonna fucking like? Is he just gonna move Kenny Wallace?
He's had a lot of trouble with these guys trying to get around him tonight.
Casey Kane has not won in 2007. He has only 2 top 10s. Doesn't have a top 5 all year long. He could change that all here tonight.
Oh, I see Montoya up there. I get fucking last.
Bristol, Tennessee. 287 laps are in the books. NASCAR Nextel Cup coverage presented by Pennzoil. And has been the Casey Kane show. Casey Kane from the pole was led twice for 260 laps. The only other leader was Carl Edwards once for 28 consecutive laps.
Well, it just might turn into the Dale Earnhardt Jr. show here shortly. If he can catch Kane, he's got a good second place run going. But Carl Edwards is moving up in the 3rd position and not letting Jr. get away from him whatsoever.
Yeah, these guys are fighting by some of these lap cars. And I see another car up here getting ready to go a lap down. We see Casey Kane working inside of Scott Riggs, but just ahead of them is Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. He's got just a few laps fresher tires than these guys because he pitted under that last caution, but just about helped. These guys have been struggling tonight.
And right now, Jamie McMurray doesn't want Casey Kane to pass that 10 car, because if Casey gets past the 10, then the 10 car becomes our new lucky dog, and it was Jamie McMurray.
Just lap the whole field, why don't you? Damn.
Casey Kane, who had led just 66 laps in the first 23 races of 2007. Look how many he's led tonight.
Wow.
262 in that Dodge for Gillette.
Wait, first how many races?
In the first 23 races.
Okay, so this is race number 24.
Look how many he's led tonight. 262 in that Dodge for Gillette, Evernham Motorsports, and Carl Edwards, the other leader here. If you look at our forward lap leader is Billboard.
It's looked good for him so far, but I know one lap that he wants to lead, and that's that last one.
Earnhardt's almost there. Wow.
More on Casey Kane. Dave?
Yeah, guys, and he almost had that going earlier this year here at Bristol. Remember, he ran in the top 5 most of the day, and while running 8th late in the race around lap 282, had a flat left rear tire, ended up in the turn 4 wall. That ended his good run. He had qualified on the outside of the front row that day, and this day, of course, yesterday, he qualified on the pole. So Casey Kane looking better, looking like he was in March, and hoping for the final result.
This car of tomorrow for these guys has really proven to be maybe the healing salve this team needs, because they've not had any luck with this other car. With the current car, they've tried a old nose, a new nose. They've tried all kinds of things, but this car of tomorrow seems to have been working well for them. They ran good here in the spring. They're running great tonight, led a lot of laps, so maybe this is just what they need.
Well, you know, they used to have the dominant car, the older car, but then they lost their mojo, so to speak, and they've chased it all over the place, and enough so that's really confusing them. But like you said, Andy, this has got to be a good, you know, aspirin for all these guys to speak of in this 9 team, because
Jimmy Johnson getting lapped. Good.
Easy also.
Speaking of a guy who may have a big-time headache tonight, Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car. There's Jimmy, the current reigning Cup champion, back in 21st spot, in danger now of going a lap down to Casey Kane.
Really been struggling with that 48 car, and he won't just lay over for Casey Kane. He's going to fight hard for this spot.
Just don't hold them up.
Kane,
just
the leader,
don't
Earnhardt Jr.
get held up on him so Dale gets by.
Edwards is 3rd. Kurt Busch in the 2 car coming off the
Kurt Busch
at Michigan in the rain-delayed Michigan race last Tuesday. Now being shown back in 4th position.
Good run for the Penske boys. Alright, I'm going to go out and do some bike.
Coming into tonight was
alright, bro.
who among the 5 drivers who had a shot
Where's my
to get in
mouse?
that
Where
top
the
12
fuck
or
is my
stay
mouse?
in that
There
top
it is.
12 in the
I'll
race
talk
of
to
the
you.
chase. The 2 car winning 2 of the last 3 was holding on to that 12th position.